and they look at what we've done this whole year with DFB, and they're like paying homage, know, and I'm like, well, I'm just getting started. This was year one.
Oh yeah, year one, man.
Year one,
Especially the self-development, man. And you told me about, the conversations, and sometimes I don't even know how far I've come, right? Yes. Especially like within just 1 year. And for me, it's like, oh yeah, whatever. Okay, let's go. The next one, right? And then you're like, no, King, like just 1 year, man. Look at the accomplishment. Like, oh man, wow. Make sure to subscribe and like our podcast.
Moving the conversation along with character development. We encourage, every individual to number one, take ownership of themselves, right? Take ownership of your life. Take ownership of your future. Like, where are you going?
Yes.
What's your destination point? What, which direction? Take ownership of these things, right? Because, oftentimes, myself included at some point, used to point the finger and say, well, they didn't do this for me. They failed to teach me this. They, it's their fault. If they would have invested in me, I would have been further along. Right. And you hear the conversations and the stories they said this to me, they treated me this way, and that's why I'm this way right now. Right. And I always find that interesting, because I'm like, well, if you have the awareness right now to recognize that some of your past traumas and the damage, and even the way you were programmed, socially programmed to behave, act, think right now is a result of someone who had, malintentions, or maybe because they were, inequipped, or, not educated, or just did the best that they could.
Yes.
If you have that level of awareness now to recognize that, right? To not take ownership now in the present and realizing okay, my past doesn't have to define me.
Yes.
And, it doesn't have to be my future, right? It doesn't have to be my future. Right. So, and I have the power within me. I have the authority within me to break free. Right. And now redesign, refashion myself, into someone different.
Yes.
But identifying and knowing what that difference is. And now I now can control and have the authority to really shape my future. And especially now in 2022, 2023, there's so many resources and tools available to be able to do that, right? Where yesteryears, 15, 20, 30, 40 years ago, it was increasingly difficult, even though in every generation there's people that defy the odds and say, my past will not define me. I'm going to make something of myself. I'm going to, but it's so much, in my opinion, I think it's so much easier now because there's so much knowledge and information that's quickly at our fingertips, and there's so many more options and resources available to say, okay, these resources are here, to kind of, rectify and change, right? And then be able to now, equip you to, in pursuit of, right? But so now the ownership, the responsibility, is so much more incumbent upon that person to explore those options and those opportunities.
Yes, that is true, man. Now more than ever, just to, information, we're at the information age, right? Definitely owning accountability to everything, and then using the information and the tools around, right? Because especially with the character, personal development, for me personally, I've seen how important, and man, that is everything.
Yes.
That is everything. I was able to let go of the past and, like you said, no longer let my past define my future, right? Because for a while it was like this crazy circle of, trying to let the past define the future.
Yes.
Right? Because again, that was, people that brought me out, whatever, right? Trying to use the past technique, everything, right? To try to, this is going to work, because whatever the case may be, right? But personal development, especially right now with the information age, knowing that, okay, no, man, something has to change, right? A process, the system has to change.
Yes.
Because we can't keep getting the same results over and over again and, or repeating the same steps, expecting a different result.
That's right.
So yeah, it just become, yeah, that personal development piece of it, you know, is definitely everything, man. You know, is what changes the course of your future, what you do right now.
And I've also grown to learn and understand and even just accept that I want to, you know, go about this situation, right? I've had, you know, quote unquote big brothers, and I respect them all, and I still love them all, you know, whether we're close, whether we talk now. Most of them we don't. But they taught me what they knew, right? And recognizing that also the environment and the world that they grew up in is not the same one that I had to, like, you know, function in, right? So they just taught me through their lens of where they were, right? And as I grew and I learned and I reevaluated, a lot of what they taught me just doesn't really apply, right? Like, it's not applicable to the way my life is set up and the way I function, and even the way that I grew. So I had to, instead of sitting back and blaming, you know, or complaining about what I didn't have and what I should have gotten and what I could have, you know, and where I would have, right? I just took ownership and said, okay, well, become it. Become everything that you've always wanted, right? Become, you know, cultivate within yourself, you know, the disciplines and the character and the principles and the values that you've always looked at and was seeking and searching for in the world. And then once I was able to, like, you know, figure out how to cultivate these things, and I got a lot of them just through my journeys in different places at different times, from many different teachers, and most of those teachers was just life, right? Life using people and situations and things. That's why we say everything is a learning lesson. And those lessons helped me to cultivate all of, you know, the things that I was looking for. So now I don't look for it. I don't look for a me. Right? I don't, you know, what I would consider a me. I don't look for, oh man, I need an OG. I need a big brother. I need this mentor of, like, you know, coaching and mentorship is, like, great and phenomenal. Right? Like, it's a necessary part of acquiring information that helps everyone and anyone towards, you know, higher self-development. You know, but if you don't have it readily and easily available and accessible, it's still not an excuse either to not go search, like, in pursuit of whatever it is, right? To say, well, I didn't have it, so therefore I am, right? Like, no, I'm becoming and I'm in pursuit of, right? And every misstep and every mistake and, you know, misjudgment and what would be quote unquote failures, these are all just learning lessons that are taking me in a direction that, you know, towards my pursuit, which is cultivating within myself, right? And then at some point you get to a stage where you're like, you've cultivated yourself so much where you're like, well, you know, it's nice to, like, okay, I can go and talk to an OG, a wise, you know, master, a sage about an aspect of my life that maybe I find challenging, but my experiences have taught me, like, I gotta keep, if I'm going through something, I gotta keep moving. I gotta keep moving, you know, like, I don't need to know what to do. I just need to know, put one foot in front of the other, right? Don't stop in hell, right? Keep going through it, you know, because eventually I'm gonna come out the other side, right? So, but so that's where I believe, you know, like, and personal development is so critical, and who knows, man, like, we're all destined for different things, right? Different roles. That's why we say your script, you know, like,
doesn't fit mine.
Like, it's not going to fit mine. Like, you know, your narrative, like, it's your narrative. So what's destined for me to become and the impact that I'm going to have on the world, on the future, on my life, on my family, right? This is what's laid out for me, right? And I'm not going to say, like, oh, my destiny is fatalistic, you know, where, like, oh man, I recognize that this is what was laid out for me. I wasn't born 6'6". Like, I wanted to be 6'10" and play in the NBA, right? Man, I didn't even make 5'10". Wow. You know what I'm saying? So what I wanted, you know, that I thought was going to be destined for me, that's not it, you know. So, but I kept pursuing, right? And we already established in pursuit of, right, your purpose will find you. Yes. And then my purpose found me, and it's a complete match. So now I look back, and it was yesterday. I was, you know, kind of just doing my morning reflections and meditations, and I glanced over my entire life, and I was so filled with gratitude. You know, I was flooded with gratitude yesterday. Because I was like, thank you for everything and everyone and all the experiences and all the situations and just every step of the way and everything that I went through and, you know, that sometimes felt like, you know, golly, man, you know, right? Like, I was just overcome with an abundance of gratitude for my entire life because I'm looking at myself now and the man that I've become and how I feel in my heart and how I feel in my mind. And just as I move, you know, every day, I get up every day and I move into the world. Like, I'm like, man, any one of those things, you know, would have taken away from what and I'm like, no, I don't take away from what I am right now. So like I just paid homage. Yesterday I paid homage to my past and to my entire life, man, because it's just, you know, it like what I became. I love what I've become. Like I'm so in love with me, you know, that, you know, like I don't want to change a thing, you know, but that was the process that was laid out for me. Right. You know, and I'm not going to complain about that because, you know, I know people that are older than me, right. That's lived longer than me, that's, you know, have accomplishments, you know, all over the world, you know, and done all these things. And, you know, but when I look at their personal development, even in their, you know, them even dealing with me, they're like, you know, they give me homage, like, man, you're really well put together and just your mind and your, you know, your belief in yourself. And, you know, and they look at what we've done this whole year with DFB and they're like paying homage, you know, and I'm like, well, I'm just getting started. This was year one.
Oh yeah,
you know,
year one,
you know, so, but I humbly receive, you know, that respect, you know, that they give. And that's what made me look like, man, no, I wouldn't change a thing about my life, man.
I mean, same goes out to me, man, you know, not even one thing, man, you know. I think I was telling him I was speaking to my brother today, man, and I was telling him about, you know, the man, you know, I have, you know, grown into, right? And the same stuff, man, kind of like, you know, like every step, every process, you know, has you know, led me here, and I wouldn't change any of those experience, you know, or those process for anything, you know, like the especially the self-development, man. And you told me about, you know, the conversations, and sometimes I don't even know how far I've come, right? Especially like within just 1 year. And for me, it's like, oh yeah, whatever. Okay, let's go. The next one, right? And then you're like, no, King, like, just 1 year, man. Look at the accomplishment. Like, oh man, wow, right? And due to the amount of time, you know, where we were like, okay, whatever is later, we're gonna change it, you know. And we started working on the personal development piece of it, and basically being the author and narrator of your own life, right? Like, this is my life, and I have the pen to it to like write the script as I see fit, you know, and as I want to, right? And then just, you know, changing everything and the process entirely. So, make sure to subscribe and like our podcast.